For those who feel enough is not enough and failure is not an option, for those, there is Gamma Labs PTF, the next generation pre-workout supplement.
So do you have any thoughts on that, of like kind of coming in and obviously moving and being the main event and kind of taking their spot, so to speak, or whatever?
Yeah, well, I mean, I've never thought of it like you said. I mean, I guess if I could do it, we'd be done earlier, because I'd like to sit back and watch these two fight. I watched their first two fights live, and it's a lot more fun with a Coca-Cola and a nacho to sit back than have to, be in there after them. But, the bottom line is we're all working together. There's going to be a huge event, be the biggest, me and Anderson isn't the biggest fight in history. This is the biggest fight card in history, and it's a group effort, and it's not even just us three. You got Tito, and you got Forrest, and Rich Franklin, and Lee, and it's a group effort. It's going to be a great night. This is what history gets written about, is when the two best guys meet up for a second and third time. I'm so envious of their spot. I think it's just awesome. And
Justin, what are your thoughts, not only on this one, but Jones and Evans, kind of the evolution in our sport of the rivalry, which I think probably started with Tito and Chuck way back when. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I got a lot of thoughts. First off, I get faced with, how are you going to handle this? You lost your last fight. You got to come back. And Dom just did that. You're right, choked him out. I was there live. Boom, he came back, won the match. And it was such a tight fight. And, I didn't want to get something clear. I heard somebody call Dominick one of the best fighters in the world. And let's make sure we're fair. He is the world champion. He is the best fighter in the world. So he has now got the former world champion from an upper weight. He's now got the former number one contender from upper weight, who is now the current number one contender at this weight. So this isn't two of the best guys. These are the guys. There is nobody else. These are the two baddest dudes at this weight class, period. So let's not do the one of the for either one of these guys, okay? We got the two best right here. We're going to find out on the 7th exactly who's going to be standing. I can tell you, I watched their fight, the rematch, when Dom had to overcome. He just got beat. Who's going to bet on a guy that just got choked out, right? And taking on the same opponent. So he has to overcome. I'm watching the fight. I don't know who won. Mark Munoz goes, man, I don't know. I think it was Faber. Dan Henderson goes, I don't know. I think it was Cruz. And this is who I'm sitting around. It was that tight of a fight. So when this trilogy got announced, as a fan, it's like, oh, thank goodness. I didn't know we'd get to see this. Thank goodness that we did. So I just want to get that clear to start with. Now, as far as the Evans and Jones goes, I mean, that was a great fight, and I don't see who the loser was. That was the same situation as these two guys. You got the two best guys. And for me, going into that fight, if Jones gets cleaned up, he's still a badass. If Rashad gets cleaned up, he's still the man. For me, there wasn't going to be a loser. Let's find out who's ahead of the other one. But these are such good guys, and sometimes you'll have rankings, and a guy's 1 and 2, and the number 2 guy gets beat, and he falls to number 9. How's that work? How's that work? Plus 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for me, it's still Jones and Rashad. And then Henderson makes his claim in there, and some other guys. But I like it. At the end of the day, we don't have to get along. Everybody in every walk of life has somebody in the office they'd like to beat up. All of them. They talk about it, they go home, they complain, this guy's driving me crazy, I wish I could smack him. In our field, we can. Okay, so in our field, we can, and we get that. And some of these guys come in and talk about their respect and all this. That's a bunch of crap. You hear about the history of the martial arts. Where'd you get a history of the martial arts? From Hollywood? Besides the UFC, there is nothing to condition us or educate us on the martial arts besides what you saw in Hollywood. This is a fist fight in a steel cage. I'm not going to apologize to my opponent. And if I like him or I don't like him, we're still going to go out and compete hard to find out who's the best. It's a mutually exclusive term. Only one guy can be champion, period.
I mean, the first qualm we had with each other was all him. I didn't know who he was. He knew who I was, and he was just like angry at the world, And that's the truth. And that's how come we're enemies. I don't have many enemies in this world, and Dominick's an alright guy. I just don't like him. I've seen some. The funniest thing about our last fight was they put us in a situation like it kind of slipped through the cracks where we were forced to be with each other for 3 days. And I'm not very good at being mean to people for an extended period of time. And he's not very good at it either, really. He just, like to cry about stuff, like whine about things, and
You whining,
the
like you whining
unfairness,
about trying to get another
the
fight, about how you
unfairness, and
won
this
the
and
fight.
that.
How you won the fight.
All these different things about like the injustice that he's had in his life, the poor guy. And it's like, dude, you're the freaking world champion. You're not great looking, but you're not bad looking. And like, what do you got a chip on your shoulder for? That was my last time we hung out. That was what it was. And since then, it's just grown into like, dude, you shut up, dude. You shut up. Get out of my face. You get out of my face. And we're forced to be in each other's face. So I can't wait to punch this guy.
Yeah, I want to punch him right now. So it's
And I want to laugh it off.
Do you think that's accurate? I mean, do you still have a chip on your shoulder? Are you accepting of your position as champion? Do you get the respect that you deserve?
There's always something to fight for. The chip I have on my shoulder isn't necessarily a chip. It's my own. I push myself. It's the things that I think of myself will push me to get better. I hold myself to a high standard. When I mess up, I know it. Anything that's been said about me, I've already said about myself 10 million times. So that's something that I'm always trying to strive to get better and better and better, not just as a fighter, but as a person. So I suppose that maybe that could be the chip, is that there's just always room for improvement. But I wouldn't really consider myself like a negative, mean person or anything like that. It's just, I'm out here competing to be the best in the world and to stay the best in the world. And there's always something to prove to everybody. Everybody's always got doubts. Everybody's always talking. And, that's just always the way it is. The belt doesn't belong to anybody. It's always out there. Every time you fight, you're fighting for something new, is the way I look at it. I'm not holding anything. It's always, forever, that belt is going to be up for grabs. It doesn't matter who you are, because you're going to die, your career is going to end at some point, and it's going to be up there again. So you're always fighting for something new, and that's just the way I look at it. So I'm always trying to improve and get better, and the second you're satisfied with the way things are, that's when everything gets taken from you. So
Thanks for reminding everyone that we're going to die here pretty soon.
For those who feel enough is not enough and failure is not an option. For those, there's Gamma Labs Pre-Training Formula, the next generation pre-workout supplement, a human enhancement formula designed to build a superior athlete. More power, more speed, more endurance, more mental focus, more of you.